Do you love things that connect one thing to another? Do you enjoy easy transportation without the need for constantly hopping in and out of boats? Well, if you answered yes to both of these questions, then bridges will be the thing for you, my friend. And what if I told you that, as well as these valuable functions, some bridges are also excellent and different from others? Well, hang on to your hats. It's going to get wild up here. From bridges inspired by our DNA to others that can bridge the divide between warring nations, here are 20 unbelievable bridges in the world. Number 20. Seadoo River Bridge. This bridge is the highest in the whole world. It's a feat of modern engineering, so high that it had to be built using a rocket. The Seadoo River Bridge was opened in 2009, crossing over the valley between two mountaintops at 1,600 feet above the earth. This beats the previous world record-holding bridge by 400 feet, which was the Gorge pipeline bridge in Papua New Guinea, at 1,200 feet above the ground. The construction of this bridge, although slightly bonkers, was a massively significant step toward connecting two parts of China that had previously only been joined by treacherous and awkward mountain roads, with many rivers in between. It was not precisely convenient in the modern and ever-expanding country. At 5,000 feet above the river valley, it was also beneficial to stretch the first pilot line across. It had been necessary to use a rocket to set up the first strings across the gap. Two enormous towers support the whole thing at either end, and then the rest of the bridge is suspended in between. It's not a place for a casual drive, so if vertigo is your thing, be warned. Before we go on, if you enjoyed this video, smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell right now. Number 19. Pearl Bridge, Kobe, Naruto, Japan. From the world's highest suspension bridge to the world's longest suspension bridge, we certainly know how to keep things exciting around here, don't we? Let's get on with it because the suspense is killing me this time. In Japan, specifically on the Pearl Bridge, the suspension bridge is a staggering 4 kilometers long, 2.5 miles, connecting Kobe and Awaji Island across the Akashi Strait. Bridges and clever feats of engineering are vital in countries with many smaller islands surrounded by water. These astonishing bridge achievements are the only way to prevent whole areas from being cut off from the rest of the country. As a marvel of engineering, the Pearl Bridge does receive a lot of attention. Some tourists are drawn to the bridge to look at it, and a bridge exhibition center has been set up to accommodate this interest. However, if you feel compelled to do such a thing, it's worth bearing in mind that all the detailed information about the bridge and its construction is only in Japanese. You can, of course, still visit the bridge and take a close-up look at it from the circuit of observation walkways suspended beneath the bridge's platform. I can't think of a better way to go and spend your holidays. Number 18. Golden Gate Bridge, San Francisco, United States. One of the most famous bridges in the world, the Golden Gate Bridge linked San Francisco with Marin County when it was completed in 1937. The Golden Gate Bridge was the tallest and longest suspension bridge in the world, but we know that record-breaking has been easily surpassed since then, haven't we? Nonetheless, the Golden Gate Bridge remains a symbol of American engineering. At the time of its construction, it served as a symbol of the significant progress and power of the United States. Most things do, though. When America builds something, they like to make it extra big and extra strong. There's no such thing as a modest piece of engineering being quietly placed without fanfare, a ribbon-cutting ceremony, and a lovely big boast about it all. It has, of course, been overtaken size-wise. However, the iconic red structure of the Golden Gate Bridge in its epic setting is still one of the most recognizable landmarks of California. It's believed to be the most photographed bridge in the whole world. Number 17. Tower Bridge, London, England. Now we're headed to London to have a look at Tower Bridge. It's a historical construction built way back in 1894 adjacent to the famous Tower of London. Tower Bridge was designed many centuries after the Tower of London was constructed, but it was meant to be aesthetically complementary to the structure. The bridge stretches across the River Thames between Tower Hamlets to the north of the river and southward to the south. It measures 800 feet long and is around 250 feet wide. There are two towers, one on either side, which rise over 200 feet over the river. On the bridge itself, there are a couple of covered walkways initially designed for pedestrians' use and could be used even when the bridge was raised to allow boats to pass underneath. These walkways were closed to the public between 1909 and 1982 because they allegedly became a place for thieves and prostitutes to hang around, and that was far too scandalous, so they were shut indefinitely. Number 16. Sari Wawasan Bridge. Malaysia is located in Putrajaya, the planned administrative center and federal territory city in Malaysia. The Sari Wawasan Bridge is a futuristic-looking bridge with a nautical theme. If you enjoy bridges because of their asymmetrical qualities, this is something that few bridges can claim to display these days. The Sari Wawasan Bridge is an asymmetric cable-stayed kind of bridge. The way the design leans in a forward direction gives the appearance of a sailing ship snazzily dressed up at night with lots of lovely multicolored fairy lights. It can also pretend to be an exciting Christmas tree instead of a boring old bridge in Malaysia. If you want to see this bridge in real life, you'll find it crossing over the artificial lake and connecting to the core island where the government buildings are. It also goes by the infinitely more pronounceable but much more bog-standard name of Bridge Number 9. The thrills never end here at the Fancy Banana. We need to figure out when to stop having so much fun. Number 15. Helix Bridge, Marina Bay, Singapore. Okay, so the last one was a snooze fest. But what great delights could we have in store for you next? I know you're all waiting with enormous anticipation. Here we go. The Helix Bridge in Singapore's Marina Bay is a walkway constructed in such a way that it's been inspired by the geometric arrangement of a strand of DNA. You know, those helix shapes they go on about in Jurassic Park and all of that? The enclosure surrounding the pedestrian bridge is a pair of opposing double helix structures that have been fashioned out of stainless steel. It stretches across the Singapore River from the central business area to the Bayfront district, measuring 280 meters long, over 900 feet. The bridge allows pedestrians a safe pathway to cross from one side of the river to the other. Naturally, this is what bridges are all about. After all, the main thing is that this is Singapore. Hence, the idea is to join up all the swankster places in a modern and shiny way, and there's no doubt that the Helix Bridge does that. Oh, and they've thoroughly festooned it with LED lights so that it can be seen from all around, and how shiny. Number 14. Pont Dugard. The Pont Dugard is the most visited ancient monument in France. It's so easy to extract money from those who want to see it that the French Tourist Board has constructed a great big wall in the visitor center car park, quite literally a paywall, so that the only way to view the enormous structure is by paying the exorbitant entry fees. However, if you do get inside, this UNESCO World Heritage Site is considered by many to be a marvel of the ancient world and a remarkable technical achievement. The Romans built this aqueduct in the 1st century AD to carry water to the colony of Nimes. It crosses the river in Vers Pont Dugard in southern France, where it looks most spectacular. The bridge is 160 feet high and used to carry an estimated 8.8 million gallons of water daily over the 31 miles of distance it covers. It's believed to have been used as an aqueduct until as late as the 6th century, and some parts were even used for longer. Still, the Romans needed more maintenance to be carried out on the bridge, which eventually became bunged up with debris and mineral deposits. Number 13. Royal Gorge Bridge, Cannon City, Colorado. This is one rather great-looking bridge, but it does span a significantly more extraordinary landscape, so it's different from the bridge that anyone's paying all that much attention to. The Royal Gorge Bridge in Cannon City, Colorado, was constructed in 1929. It was designed entirely to provide a location for people to enjoy the breathtaking landscape of that area, and it certainly achieved that aim. It's not part of the highway system and never was, nor ever will be. The bridge crosses over the gorge high above the Arkansas River. It was the record holder as the highest bridge in the world from 1929 until it was overtaken in 2001 by a bridge in China. However, it was still the tallest suspension bridge in the world until 2003, when that title would be taken by another Chinese bridge. The main span of the bridge is astonishingly 880 feet long, and bear in mind that it's suspended over the enormous gap below, which is 955 feet down to the valley. The entire length of the bridge is 1,260 feet long. When it was built in 1929, it took only 6 months to construct the steel-framed bridge with a wood and plank base. It cost $350,000 back then, which is the equivalent of $4.2 million today. The park in which the bridge sits has suffered from wildfire damage in recent times. However, the bridge had managed to remain unscathed even when other attractions around it had to be rebuilt or, in the case of the incline railway, have never been reopened. This is an excellent solid structure that is pushing the 100-year mark and still seems to be going strong. Well, fingers crossed that it is. Number 12. Lupu Bridge. Shanghai, China. Proclaimed as the first steel arch bridge in the world, and now apparently the third longest of its kind, the Lupu Bridge in China's Shanghai crosses over the Huangpu River. This is a cool-looking bridge if you like that sort of thing. It's a through-arch bridge which measures 12,795 feet from end to end, although it only spans about 1,804 feet of the river. This bridge was built in 2003 when it took over the longest arch bridge from the then record holder, the New River Gorge Bridge in Fayetteville, West Virginia. There's a bridge with a bit more exciting stuff apart from its super beautiful location. The New River Gorge Bridge in Fayetteville, West Virginia, has an annual event dedicated to its honor. Bridge Day is held on the third Saturday of every October when the bridge closes down to vehicles and other activities. There's base jumping, rappelling, ascending, and a bunch of general celebrations on the bridge. These events are not without their risks, though. 3 of the 4 base jumpers who died at the bridge died during Bridge Day festivities. Still, this is more interesting than any boring old bridge in China where they don't even have a festival for it or anything. Number 11. Gateshead Millennium Bridge, Gateshead, England. Well, here we have the Gateshead Millennium Bridge, which crosses the River Tyne between Newcastle and Gateshead in northern England, in the United Kingdom. This is a truly unique structure, apparently the world's first and still only tilting bridge. It's one in a line of other distinguished bridges across the stretch of the river, but it's the only one for cyclists and pedestrians. Opened in June of 2001, it's been helpful for the locals and a novel thing for visitors since engineering-wise, it is a real feat of design. It's designed to tilt on its axis to rise and allow vessels to pass through the shipping lane beneath. When it's in motion, the pedestrians must wait on either side of the bridge on dry land until the process has been completed and the barriers are opened again. It is a bridge, not a fairground ride, after all.